Here we go again. The third run. Okay, during my mining excursions and so forth, I actually used up so much battery that I had to swap them out, and all my tools are now without power, which is pretty annoying. And we only have this one little pitiful battery charger, even though we now have the big boy's battery. So let's make actually some proper battery charger here. Yeah, it's ridiculous how fast this thing's produced. Now we need to wire it up somehow. Again, you see we have the electric connection and the logic connection. Sometimes they're separate, like in this case. Well, let's put it here. Okay, having the big boy's battery doesn't mean that we suddenly have infinite power. Obviously not. It just means that we have a lot of power. It won't just evaporate, it will actually be stored meaningfully. So another goal that we have would be to put up more solar panels. By the way, between the videos I went out and mined a little. I found some silicone, but also some water ice. Since drinking is one of our concerns. Hey, what's happening here? Huh. I don't know what's going on. It's resolved itself. Never mind. Okay. It didn't resolve itself, that was the sun. What's going on? There's no error in the config.
Oxygen low.
Everything's alright. That must have been, you know, me connecting this to the cable network and there was some kind of electric shock or whatever. I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, my battery was empty and so my suit's stuff wasn't working, and so I just opened my helmet. Now the batteries are all charged. Fine. Except for my suit battery. Okay, about these batteries. If that red spot here is blinking, then this means that the battery is almost empty. I would assume that it means that we are below the half of what this thing can display. Then it starts blinking, is my assumption. And it can fill completely and then it's blue, as in really maxed out. Let's turn that off. 10 watts saved. Yeah, so we have water ice. How do we drink from the water ice? We need an ice crusher. Let's make one. This is something to do with atmospheric gases, pipes and such, so we would probably find that here in the hydraulic pipe bender. And the crusher indeed is listed here. And it needs stuff that it doesn't have. I guess we should actually look into possibly having a deep miner that does the mining for us. Let's see how expensive that is. Deep miner. Whoops, where is it? Oh, I need an advanced auto lathe. I need to upgrade my manufacturing machines to tier 2. And before that I should actually make the tool manufactory, which is iron and copper, and not steel. Tool manufacturing. Do we have enough energy to risk this long-term production thing? It appears so. And if you'd want to make another solar panel, how expensive is that? And here's our ice crusher. Let's look at the build ghost. This looks rather complicated, right? But it's not really. I mean, the ice crusher can crush, for example, the water ice that we have here, but also the oxide. Or the volatiles. We have to take care not to toss stuff into it that we don't actually want in there. So, the water connection would be for the liquid stuff that comes out, and the gas connection above, which doesn't have a symbol, would be for the gas stuff that comes out. Then below on the left is the logic connection, which you generally don't need. It's just another option to use or not use. On the right bottom is the electricity, and on the right top we toss in the ice. Something that many people don't know is don't know yet is that this ice crusher will not just crush the ice, it will also heat it up. Heating up the ice takes a lot of energy and it takes some time. So it will appear as if the crusher is not working, but it is. I will show you. Where will we put this thing? I mean, there will be some assembly, right? I mean, put this thing up, and then there will be some pipes and stuff. Where will I put this? The tool manufactory needs to go someplace. Let's measure again. Okay. I guess we can put the ice crusher here in the corner, and then pipe stuff towards the right. Is that good? Oh, looks nice, yeah. Let's put it here. It's broken! No, it's incomplete. And it needs welding torch and iron sheets. I swear I didn't prepare this. Oh, we only need one tool manufactory, thank you very much. I feel a sneeze incoming. Don't worry, I'm using a limiter. It's not gonna get loud. Solar panel. Ah, we need more gold.
Power critical.
See, we took enough juice that this thing is actually starting to blink. Do we have some coal? We do not. We have enough gold for this purpose. Let's put that steel somewhere safe in our safe. Electricity. What else do we need here? Cable coil. I have cable coil. And that's it. That's the ice crusher. It doesn't have electricity yet. Wait, if I do it like this, it will be in the way of the tool manufactory that I plan to set up. So let's set it up slightly. Actually, it looks nice back here in the room. Yeah, well done. This is a nice base. Of course, it looks a bit fugly. I mean, look at the floor. Many people might have seen Stationeers videos and such that look like this, where you think that that is what the station looks like all the time. But no, it's just a realistic depiction of something being still in construction state. It's already functional, but it's not yet ready for living in. Let me show you what that might look like as an example. Flat wall, which needs some steel. You can also use iron walls, but I'm going for the ones that I usually use, which are quite neat. Oh, I need steel sheets too. Sheets. So, actually this thing no longer needs to look like we just moved in and just made this, so close it. See, we're moving up in the world. So let's take this. And again, here we have such a thing that we have to orient, and it's a kit. And I prefer to choose the flat wall. And then we take one of the steel sheets and... Nice, right? The cable is gone, looks neat, and if you don't like the color, then we use the spray paint. I would actually like to use black spray paint, which we don't have yet. So let's set up this one, which allows us to produce paints, iron sheets. Well, slight impression of what that might be like. It is decorated. There are many decoration claddings like this available. I haven't tested them all myself, even though I've been so long in the game already. I think before the sun comes up, we should first set up the solar panel to optimize our energy use. Do I have glass sheets with me? Do I have cables with me? Heavy cables I need. Remember, we have this cable network out there, which is for heavy load. If one of these cables of this network would be one of the weak ones, it would burn out. That is not realistic, but that's the way they simulated it. So let's put this here. So next time the sun comes up, the station battery would actually feel something. And once again that.
Power critical.
Do we have some coal here? You know what? I'm gonna... Should I wait for the sun to come up? That will take a while, will it? Do we have enough energy? You know what? Let's risk it. Let's just bank on the solar panels to do the trick, you know? We could actually, since we now have steel, create some of these large batteries, but that's not all they take. They also need some gold and iron, and I want to be careful with the resources. For now, at least. Iron sheets. 2 of them. Ah, sigh. We have more iron here. Let's smelt that. How much did that need? I don't remember. You can see here how the iron is being smelted. It was a 48 stack, and so we now already have almost 20. It should definitely be enough for the purpose. Yep. And don't forget to open the helmet. Iron sheets.
Temperature high.
Yeah, whatever. And some of that. Constructed in just the same way as the other ones. And now we have the tool manufactory, and I can get my black paint, which needs iron. So I'm closing my helmet, not turning on my filtration and stuff, because, you know, for this short time span. Do I have something else to smelt? No. By the way, let's have some fun. I save the game and I put into the smelteria my volatiles. Oh, I actually expected there to be more fun now. Like this one? Ah, yeah, that's a mixture. Fuel mixture, you know, oxygen and volatiles. Whoopsie. Don't do that, ever.
Oxygen low. Temperature high. Oxygen critical.
Yep, back in business. We have some more iron, so we can make the black spray paint.
Oxygen low.
Oh right, the helmet. This was actually slower than I expected, and that's because I'm so used to only producing paints once I'm later in the game, and later in the game I already have upgraded all my manufactories. Now take note, spray paint 2 produces some pollution. 0.31 mole. And that's very slightly more now. To be considered. But nice, huh? And it's not the floors you can spray paint, you can also spray paint other stuff. Of course it's not much more because it's spreading out in the entire room. So overall, yeah, overall it's quite something. To Manufactory. Now let's wire up the... Do I still have cables? I think not. Used up all of them. Let's smelt some more of the copper. Again, I'm pressing the letter I to open and close my helmet,
Oxygen low.
instead of doing that with
Oxygen critical.
with this thing here. And press Alt, and once again to have the mouse pointer. Now the sun is up and we have some charging going on. This will probably eventually become solid again, and then possibly we will also see that, but this battery can hold so much charge that 3 solar panels during one day might not be enough to show us that. Cables, please. Do we have some copper in here? Yes. Else I would have just used the autolathe. Lol. Trying to produce copper. Cable.
Power critical.
I could also just use the big battery, but I don't feel like it right now, for whatever reason. So, what we will do later, once we have set up this thing, we should also come up with some kind of cooling solution for this room, which is currently at 39 degrees. One of the possible solutions, of course, is to toss some more ice on the ground, but that is a finite solution. What we can do is, of course, we can put an active vent down here and just pump out some of the air pressure so that the pressure is low enough. It can then be tossed down more ice. See? I mean, it's just a flexible solution. You can do anything you want. You just put something down that does a thing, and then that will probably implement the solution that you aimed for. That's so fun to do, you know, come up with your own ideas. But that's a wasteful solution. What I intend to do instead, I will cool down the room by other means. I already showed you the that's the air scrubber. The AC, the portable AC, which is somewhere folded here, I think. which can just cool down the room or heat it up. It's a bit overpowered in my opinion, but anyway, what I intend to do is I will put pipes out there with radiators, which will allow the heat in the pipes, which will bleed out into the vacuum of space anyway, but weakly, to radiate out much more quickly, and then I will pump the room's air through that pipe back into the room, which will cool down the room. And later we will even automate that, so that it only happens when necessary. So we're standing around in the room and you will hear some click, click, because then it has cooled down the room sufficiently. And that happens multiple times a minute, depending on how we implement this. And it's a real engineering solution. That's how it would work in reality. I mean, really, they gamified engineering. Okay, there's the crusher. We still had some cables. Yo, so we want to crush some of the ice water, but let's read up on ice water first. What we read here is that it doesn't just have 20 moles of water, but also 5 moles of nitrogen. So if I crush this thing, we won't just get here some liquid, but we will also have some nitrogen that has to go someplace. It would stay in the device since there's no pipe cowl or anything here. That's the general rule for all things in the game. It will not just excrete into the world, but then this reservoir inside here will build up and eventually the pressure will be too high. I think this thing can even explode. I don't want to find out, so we will have to find a solution for that. I'm not sure what exactly to do about this. I think I want to pipe the nitrogen into this room, because in reality our actual breathing air here on Earth consists mostly of nitrogen, which is neutral, it's an inert gas, which basically doesn't react, and to like 20% of oxygen and to like 2% or 1% CO2. Yeah. And the game will eventually implement, I'm pretty sure, this realistically, so if you have too much oxygen like I have right here, that would be a problem for my lungs, for my body. There will actually later be some kind of surgery system with organs and such. I think, I heard that. I'm not sure if they will do that, but probably. Again, it's early access. So let's put up some... Let's first make the bottle filler, so we get some perspective on what we're gunning for. That would again be some atmospherics-ish thing, so... Here's the water bottle. Oh no, I don't want the water bottle, I want the filler. Filler... Water bottle filler, and it needs iron, copper and silicone. Silicone I gathered between videos.
Oxygen low.
Whatever.
Oxygen critical.
I'm just holding my breath. Some copper, silicone is in the works. Iron I do not have right now. How much silicone? 8. Might be a bit early for that.
Oxygen low. Oxygen critical.
It's not early. 15, okay. This measure of just opening this thing to get the resources, you can only do indoors on planets that have storms, because otherwise you will have a bad time eventually. And by the way, these bricks, the ingots can also get damaged. So the storm will slowly wear them down, but it will also blow them away. That's the wearing down is really a secondary concern here. So a water bottle filler. Should I put this on the wall? How will I wire this up? Liquid output is down here. Yeah, I will actually pipe the liquid through the outsides. We have some empty water bottles already. Let's put them in. No, turns on later. Wire it up. Flashing arrow. Why? What's your problem? Oh, you need water? Don't be ridiculous. So, I'm really looking forward to upgrading this tool manufactory, because then we can get the advanced tool belt, which has an entire additional row. So we really have a lot more space. And 2 of those additional slots are actually simple inventory slots. So I can use the cables in the extra 2 slots, and the other 2 I can use arbitrarily. That will give us much more freedom. I need pipes. Liquid pipes.
Power low.
There are insulated liquid pipes and also insulated gas pipes, and there are also normal liquid pipes. The insulated ones, they need some steel and silicone, I think, I'm not sure, and the liquid pipes just need some iron. The non-insulated ones, that means they will well, maybe we can actually demonstrate that. Let's look at this pipe, which should contain some gas, because this pipe is open, because here we have a pipe cowl kind of thing, which is the passive vent. This thing is the same thing as this thing, except it's not electrified, it's just an opening. So what we have here is just the same as the room air, except in the pipe network. But you can see here, convected. What does that mean? Well, convection is transferal of thermal energy by means of touch, and by means of atmospheric touch. And if this value would be positive, it would mean that it is radiating away like 0.07 something millijoules of thermal energy, but negative means that thermal energy is actually going into this thing. Why this exactly is happening here, I don't know. That's some detail of the simulation, which probably makes sense even. Anyway, and if that were an insulated pipe, convected would be 0, because that's the purpose. Insulated means period. Insulated. Nothing else. Oh, I have 1 pipe. That's not quite enough. You can actually attach liquid pipes here to gas outlets and gas pipes to liquid outlets, but that will not actually function. And you can easily distinguish here that is a gas outlet, and that thing with the screws around it, that's for liquids. Also the tooltip tells you. How many more do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4 or something.
Critical.
Yay. Okay. Now if we turn this on, there will not be an error. Oh, there will not be an error, except there's also no water in there. It's not just the absence of the pipe that caused the error. What does our station battery say? It says, "Thank you for the sun, but it was insufficient." let's put some of our water ice in there. I said that if you toss some ice down in a warm room, it will actually melt. But there's an exception to that rule, and that's these inlets here. That these kind of protect the water, and that's convenient because when you turn this on, and turn it off again, it's still here. Do we have some water in this pipe? No, because, like I said, it first needs to heat up that stuff. See? And I think the default is 15 degrees Celsius, but this will take a shit ton of electricity. So I want to have an eye out for that. I don't want to be sitting in darkness. Okay, we will have something to drink very soon. Ah, the nitrogen. I want to pipe that into the room. So let's do that. Yeah, wire pipe. I can just put a pipe cowl on that thing. It's blinking. Okay, let's better stop this. 10 degrees. Not far to go. Tricky choice. At some point... Oh, what's happening? 14.950. There's some gas coming from here, which means that some of the stuff within has now been heated to sufficient temperature, and this should mean that also some water has been put into the pipes, and that's what it means. Look here, 1.21 liters of water at appreciable temperature. What does the bottle filler say? Listen up. Yeah, that's the sound of life, baby. Now it's flashing an error because, well, there's not enough water left here in the pipes to fill up the bottles more. I would have to run this thing more, but I don't dare. But anyway, we set this thing up, now we have a working water supply. That's good. Well, later we will also have to deal with the fact that this container won't last forever, so we need some way to get the oxide into that thing, or into our bottle here. And let me just show you one of the most essential things that that Stationeers has regarding you know, atmospherics, gas and such. UT. Pipe, kit pipe utility gas and kit pipe utility liquid, which are basically the same except one is for liquid and one is for gas. So, what can we build here? This is a little inline tank, which I heard if you put it up there on the back of the furnace before you have your valve, which then opens to the pipe cowl, if you do that, then it will be much faster to vent the furnace, I think. Or do I have to put it after the valve? I'm not sure, I never tried that. That's the inline gas tank. What is the gas tank good for? Well, it creates volume. Remember when we had our simple manual airlock in the beginning? There was a pipe here which was long because I wanted more volume. Instead, I could have just had, you know, at some point you know, one of the small inline gas tanks, or one of the big ones. For a big one, actually, I need 2 of the pipe utilities. You can see that here in the tooltip, need more. And then the last thing, it's only 3, is that.
Power critical.
Let me put that down. So on the left side we have the gas input, on the right side we have the logic connector if you want to, you know, measure the values with therein. Is this correct? That is correct. Let's place that up here on this height. Inside the room, if possible. I don't like that. It needs to be placed differently. So remove it. Oh. Damn, I have to rotate it again. Yep, like that. And then I can pipe this up. Of course, this means if I just pipe from here to there, that this will be a closed system, which will not release any gas, so the pressure will build up, just as if I didn't have the pipe here. So I guess we should add another valve. Because then we can choose to release this into nothing, or we can choose to fill our bottles. But that's also not the best choice. Not sure what to do. Now I will just pipe this out of the room, which I might not ever actually do. Maybe I want to keep the nitrogen indoors, but then I will have the choices, you know? Where is my valve? Didn't I have an extra valve? Is this thing actually empty? Valve. One was used out there. Okay, there's an extra valve. Never mind. Yep. But now we have the choices. So I can either pump this into a bottle and then just open the bottle so it releases its content indoors, or I have the choice to release it outside the base. That gives me maximum flexibility, and in a situation where everything's a bit tight, like it still is for us, because this is not like the Stationeers base, it's just we're coping, that's what this is.
Power low.
We want to be able to utilize options.
Oxygen low. Oxygen critical.
Okay, now we could also stick some oxide in there and fill our oxygen bottle. Kind of, because what we get then is not just oxygen, we also get nitrogen. And I mean, breathing nitrogen is not a problem. Like I said, it's most of what our breathing air consists of. But, oh, that was wrong. but it would build up in the suit because it's not being filtered out. I mean, every time something is filled in from the gas tank into our suit, because we need some more oxygen, right? That will fill up the suit to whatever limit we have set. And every time some more nitrogen would come in. And if that's not filtered out, only the CO2 is filtered out, then there would be more and more nitrogen, so less and less room is left to actually pump in some from this bottle, so eventually the oxygen level will be too low. This is just how it works, it's just realistic. Need some iron. So, if need be, we have that one ready. And actually, I think I can plop it in here, because as long as I don't have any nitrogen that's being breathed, that's being piped, I think it will actually also not use the nitrogen filter. Not sure. So, now let's look for other gases that we can filter. Carbon dioxide, right. That's on the left here.
Power critical.
Nitrogen, we just dealt with that. Then we have N2O, that's a molecule of nitrogen and two nitrogen and oxygen, which can be part of a laughing gas. You know, if you have too much of that in your mixture here, you will go unconscious. It can be used together with, I believe, volatiles, a 1-to-1 mixture. One of these, one of those. I mean, one of this gas and one of that gas, to have very extremely powerful fuel, which is also very fickle, because what we didn't talk about yet actually is phase changes. You know, so far we only dealt with gases basically, but we will also have liquids, and if the pressure is higher, then it will become liquid if it was in gaseous form. And let's actually look at Stationpedia for N2O, nitrous oxide. Here we go. And when we scroll down, we actually see the phase change diagram that is used by the game. They are not entirely realistic, so you can't look the same thing up on Wikipedia. It's not identical, but it's quite the same, I think. So, Celsius. If the temperature is below minus 24 degrees, then under any and all circumstances this will be a solid. And if the pressure is like 800 pascals, then we get the liquid sector rather easily, and liquids are poison for the gas pipes. And here there's the gaseous form. That's how you read these. Now let's look at oxygen, which is much less fickle. There's the solid state, which would be minus 220 or something degrees, and this is the liquid form. But no matter how high your pressure is, as long as your temperature is like above minus 100 degrees Celsius, you will have gaseous form. And so if you have a situation where you have a very high pressure and very cold in gas pipes, then you would like, for example, to use oxygen, because that will not then cause problems for your pipes. This might sound like something that is too complicated to learn, too much beyond you, and no longer fun, but I'm just talking about something that is far in the future of your stationeering, and it's good that you have heard of this. It's good that you have some perspective of what's actually in here. So, the air scrubber. Let's put the pollution filter in there and grab one of the batteries that we don't have. Some extra batteries would actually be nice. Oh, there is an extra battery. Then... Ah, thank you, son. You're welcome. Yeah. Don't mention it. So, where's my tablet? Buried. So there's some pollutant in here, which isn't too much, but you know, pollutant is not something that you actually want to breathe. Just because your body doesn't complain yet, I mean, you don't want to smoke, right? So let's put some of that here. And since I already turned it on, it's now active. Over here, we still have this amount of pollution. Over here it's already gone. Here we still have some because the air needs to equalize, the gas exchange, you know. But as you can see, I'm very effectively removing the poison from the room. This way I can also remove any other gas if I want to. This will then be pumped inside here. There's now pollution in there, 4.68 moles. And if I flip this lever, then I think the device needs to be turned on. Meanwhile, just like these ones need to be turned on when you want to get the resources they're in. Then it will actually release that gas right here into the atmosphere, which we don't want. But what you can do for the portables, this is a portable, that is a portable, and the portable AC is also a portable. You can plop down a portables connector, then you place this thing on the portables connector, and then you use the wrench to affix it, and then the gas in this case would actually stream into the portables connector, and then I can just release it into the environment, which is what we tend to do, we people, don't we? So maybe we want to crush some more ice. Let's see. Oh, 2 filters that are used up. So what do you do with your used up stuff? I could, for example, just toss it out there, especially on a planet with storms, but that's not the wisest choice. I'd rather keep that stuff around, because we can recycle it. And once I've upgraded these manufactories, I will be able to produce a deep miner. There's a large installation out there, which will continually produce resources which we need to refine by sending them into a centrifuge, and that centrifuge will then, okay, it's blinking, will then spit out whatever that the deep miner got out of the ground, for example iron or coal or whatever, and the centrifuge can also be used to recycle this stuff. I would have to build a recycler. I toss this in, the recycler spits out some brown ball, which I then toss into the centrifuge, and on the other side I get some iron. Half of what went into this, as far as I know. So everything that gets crushed by the recycler, you will only get half the resources back. But that's better than nothing, so I want to do that. What's the next step? More electricity would be nice, so more solar panels. We could also use some coal for more steel production later, maybe. In other words, I would have to do a mining run. And this time, I think I will take you along. Oh. At least for a bit, to show you some things. Let's take the beacon. Yep. Press T to place properly. Left mouse on, aka it's now off. Put that in there. Actually, I'm a bit paranoid. Let's rather put the big battery in there, because if I want to rely on that thing, I don't want it to run out of power. That would not be so nice. Then we have our tablet here, which is currently without power. And then we have the tracking module somewhere here. Tracker, yep. And now when I turn on the tablet, tracking beacon question mark. I can use the scroll wheel. There it shows myself, which is I'm not far away. And if there were other people present, then they would also be shown here. And I can, if someone is always at base, then you don't need a running tracker. because you can just look for those people there. And it will show you an arrow once there's something to be shown, and the distance. Very convenient. I want to make a large battery, because I am running on fumes here. I don't like that. Battery cell large. Takes gold, copper and steel. Oh. I think I use steel here. I don't remember. Steel. I need more gold! That's ore. Ingot. I played this before. Yeah, that was unnecessary. I could have left the floor in. So, let that thing charge this way. I will take that with me. That goes in the charger. That goes in the me. Anything else of note? Yeah, of course. Always take care where you click. I should actually leave some of this stuff here, because for a thorough mining run I want to be able to drag some stuff from my mining belt into my inventory, so obviously I need some room for that. This can stay here, but that can't. This is akin to that. By the way, this is a solar panel, which I can actually use to charge my batteries. But we are beyond that now. We have a station battery, and that's kind of the stage when you would no longer use this thing. But imagine you run out of battery out there and you have really nothing left, then you can at least swap out some batteries and put one in here and wait it out in the sun. So yeah, that's a possibility. Okay, are we equipped? Let's turn this thing on. And let's go mining. There is no distance limit, so no matter how far away you are, you can always orient yourself. So let's use this convenience and just drift around. Oh, there's some coal I mined, but didn't take with.
Oxygen low.
Right, that.
Oxygen critical.
Yeah, before going out I should actually have checked my oxygen tank, but it's looking good. By the way, when you are on a world which is, for example, much hotter than this, your suit will struggle to keep the temperature in your suit, and it will use oxygen to counter the temperature problems. Actually, it's stupid to go mining during the night because you can't see anything, but I guess we'll cope. Oh, what's that? One of the quirks of an early access game, I guess. Ah, yeah. Now it painted the rest. We already have some silicone, 2 stacks actually. Why waste time on that? Where was I? it will try to counteract the heat with oxygen, and therefore you will find later when you take a look at your waste tank.
Waste tank critical.
Oh, I have the tracker. That's not a good idea. You would find a lot of oxygen in there. And then you wonder, why is that happening? Can't you just like swap out the tanks and just breathe the rest of the oxygen? Yeah, that's technically possible. However, the oxygen in that tank will probably be very hot. The temperature matters, and then your lungs will take damage. Oh, a word on the jetpack. When I use the jetpack, which is the key J on the keyboard, or I reassigned it to shift because there's no running in this game, so that makes complete sense, I think. Should be the default, in my opinion. Then I'm using jetpack fuel here. Ridiculously little, but I'm using it. And what is jetpack fuel? Jetpack fuel is just any gas that you wish. Anything. Because it's just using gas pressure to move you around the air. And of course you have to take care. This bottle contains nitrogen. The canister nitrogen is at This text there, this green text in the tooltip, is not some objective statement of the simulation, but it is just the name of the canister. The canister being green is because someone painted it green. The canister being called canister nitrogen is because it was renamed so. That is what this is. So we can later fill in some oxygen, it will still be called canister nitrogen, it will still be green. So you can also use different gases, but you have to take care. Nitrogen is neutral. If I use a jetpack within my base, where, for example, plants will be growing later, then I add some nitrogen and that's not a problem. But, for example, what if the bottle is very hot? What if it's like 1000 degrees? Then you will unleash that heat in a gaseous form in your base. What if it's volatile? What is pollutant? That's what will happen then. Now, if I run out of jetpack fuel out here, what can I use? What can I do reasonably? I can just swap this waste tank with that tank, so we'll have an empty waste tank, which is always a good thing to have. And I can just fart out some CO2 and maybe some waste oxygen to fly around. That's something I loved in Stationeers, which I thankfully played before this game, because I don't know if I could get into it now after this, because that was also very modular, where you could swap things out which seemed similar, and then you could, you know, if it is kind of the same thing, then yeah, that would work. That's a great concept, modular. We have some gold, we have some iron. Copper would also be nice to have. You will have noticed the credit card here. You start with 200 credits. I don't know if that's a $sign in a different country. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. So that is that can be used to buy stuff from traders. To interact with traders, you have to lure them down to your planet via radio, and you have to supply a landing pad. There are different types of traders, different scales, different needs. Some will do with a 3x3 landing pad, some need a 5x5, some need a 7x7 square. Some actually need even a landing strip to get to that landing pad, and some actually demand some atmosphere to breathe in, so you actually have to build a hangar. And obviously if you get one of those, then you will also get more interesting trades. There are actually some very valuable things in the game which you cannot get at all except by trading. For example, I talked in the last video about the ferns, which convert much more CO2 back into oxygen than regular plants, and there is some type of fern in the game which does that like 8 times as strong as that. So if you want to produce oxygen or mass, that is really a good thing to have. But you can also just plop down some more plants. The plants will of course need more water and more space. So yeah, it's a trade-off. And I think there is also some possibility for, let's see here, I will pause the game with escape and then look for nitrogen, for example. The catalytic filter. I think that can be obtained only in creative mode, but maybe actually one of the traders has it too, I'm not sure. And this means that this filter will never be used up. That's very good for your production machines, where you otherwise would have to sometimes swap out the filters. But until then, there's still the medium filter, which is really heavy already, and then there's the heavy filter, which you can plop down and forget for a long time. Copper. Oh, no more space. Not true. So, what to do in this situation? Jump after, obviously, and I can click that directly with the mining drill, I think. Or do I have to turn it on? Now it has been absorbed and is in the mining belt. Yeah, where there's ore, there is, at least in these cases, some hardened rock, so the drilling will be harder. But there's also the juicy bits. You know what? I think we should actually build the hydraulic mining drill just to have fun with the atmospherics and to be able to mine faster. I should have done this before actually moving out. Maybe we should also just return to base right now to build that drill and to use some of the resource that we gathered. But I need more copper. And gold is also always welcome. So this stack was filled up from 46 to 50 by this drill action, but what I got from that drill action was more than 4, and so the rest is now rolling around here. And I will leave it at that, out of spite. Some more copper, maybe? I saw some up here, didn't I? Just a moment. If you play on harder difficulties, the jetpack will actually be consumed faster, will consume more fuel. So, let's go back to base. Oh, that direction. You can actually drill down to bedrock. There's some bottom that you cannot drill beyond, and that's what the deep miners do, by the way. They drill to that level and then they start actually mining. So you get the goods that you can otherwise never get. And they are infinite, so other than, as opposed to my current mining, they will just continue drilling. What am I looking at? That's the one. So, how much battery do we use? It's still at 99%. In other words, we could have used a small battery. There's a variant of these tracking beacons that can be installed like solidly, and it can just be cabled up, so you don't need a battery. Of course, I could later produce a wireless battery and put that in there, but we don't have the resource for that yet. what shall be the next steps? So we need some cooling. 48 degrees. We do need some cooling. How do we do that? Okay, there's first the cheap solution. Just toss some of that down, and then we need some pipes outside which will do the cooling for us. So let's install some sophisticated cooling solution. I need 2 active vents for this. Actually, I can also just use 1. I can just pump some room air into that outside cooling pipe, and then suck it back in later when it has cooled down. But that's not too elegant. So let's use 2 of them: iron, gold, copper. I will also need more pipes, and I will need the pipe radiators. Which takes gold and steel. Do we have steel lying around? No, somewhere in the machines, yeah. This is getting annoying. I want to make more steel, but I don't have the resources really. Gold. They're not too expensive. There are different types of radiators. These go directly onto the pipes. There are also some that you can plop down on the ground. They are more powerful. Some pipes. Where will I start my cooling system? On which wall will I put it? I think I will put it here. So there will be an active vent. It's iron. Stupidly, I left the pipes inside. Yeah, that is the active vent. I need 2 of them. Like I said, one of the most used devices in the game. Here we have electricity for that thing. It can suck out the room air right from here. Why do we need 2 active vents? Well, the problem is if I leave the gas out there in the pipe for too long, it might actually cool down too much. I mean, we want to be able to control that. If I just have a pipe out there with some radiators, and there will constantly be a gas in there from the room via like one of these, like a passive vent, so the room will constantly be inside the pipes partially, and so they will constantly cool the room, and that might well lead to a room that is just too cold. We don't want that, so I need to be able to define what's happening. One way to do that would of course be to use a valve, so I can just shut off this connection to the outside pipe, but that doesn't stop the pipe from cooling, so the gas in the pipe will cool down further and further until it probably eventually reaches, see phase change diagrams, a frozen state, and when it freezes the pipe will burst and my nice assembly will be broken, and where the pipes are burst the radiator will also be destroyed. We don't want that. Therefore, we only want there to be gas in that cooling pipe when we're actually cooling something. So I want to suck the pipe dry, and for that I will use an active vent. So either I can pump it in with one active vent and then suck it dry again at some point, or I install some lasting solution where one of them is on always and the other I switch on click click only when I need to cool a little. We can also automate this that it pumps out when the room is too warm, and we can also add a sensor to the pipe itself, so we can measure if the pipe is empty, and when it is empty, the one that is supposed to suck the pipe dry will no longer do so. What we can also do is we can do what I just described with only one active vent, so it will be kind of breathing. It will breathe out and breathe in. That also works. See, you can just come up with anything that seems like it would work, because it probably will. One thing to consider is if you have a pipe like this, for example, which seems to be kind of slightly in the ground. Then I add a pipe cowl here in this place. I'm not sure, but I think it might be that the pipe cowl then is like blocked, that it cannot actually excrete anything or suck anything in. And the same would be true for these radiators. If I put them around the pipe and the pipe is basically inside this wall here, then it might still count as inside the room. So it's always good to do some contrast. Also, I mean, if we're honest, when do you actually have a pipe that is exactly within the glass pane? That just doesn't happen in reality. So let's just build it realistically and you'll be fine. Can I do that from here maybe? Almost, quasi, maybe. Nope, I have to go outside. Since we already have this active vent here, and we'll put some pipes outside, we will actually be able to demonstrate the breathing solution immediately. So that is cool. No. So then some of these, and let's go outside and assemble some stuff.
Power low.
Power low means 50% battery, which isn't too meaningful an alert to have, because there are, for example, later Earth. There are later nuclear batteries which hold so much charge that it just doesn't make sense to have this warning. Oh, little error. To have this warning up here all the time. But that's the way it is. Okay, now I have to. I can, for example, just go straight into the landscape, but that's ugly. Let's keep it close to the building. And now we have a straight pipe, which allows us to add one of these. The kit pipe radiator has two elements. One is this one, the pipe radiator, which uses radiation. And then we have the convection radiator, which you use if you have any kind of atmosphere, because that will be much more effective. I'm actually not sure if the radiator kind is effective at all if there's some atmosphere here. Remember that the pipes themselves, as I showed earlier, also have their own convection exchange already, so it may be that if you put around this thing some radiators within atmosphere and then you think, well, it's still cooling, so I guess that they are still kind of working, you might be mistaken. It might just be the pipes themselves and not the radiators. So I'm not sure, but you know what you can do in this game? You can try it out. You can do science, you can measure, you can use your tablet, you can compare stuff. Yeah, do science. Why should that not be a minigame that you play? Come on, what are you gunning for? For actually shooting people? This is an engineering game, so engineer something. For example, I came up with this coolant solution out here myself. Of course, it's not a complicated solution. It's not like, hey, look, behold what I came up with. I'm just saying, if you think a little, you will come up with ideas, and that will actually get the job done. Okay, that's actually neat. Let's try this out. Let's smelt some more. We could use some light in here, right? I mean, it's so damn dark. Let's put up some light, which will constantly suck energy, and we're not there yet. But I would at least demonstrate that, and then we would later turn it on lastingly, but currently not. Actually, a thing that you can do is when okay, let's look at the lights again. Light. Here we have the flashing light, which is very cool. You plop it down and it will light up everything around it in a rotating flashy fashion like you know it from reality. That's quite useful when you have some... let's say you turn on a machine that you have to remember to turn off again later. For example, if I use my outside breathing pipe manually, I have to remember to breathe in again, and then I can plop this thing down and turn it on, and then I will remember, oh damn, there was this thing that I still have to deal with. That's one thing you can do. What you can also do is you can install this, just like these lights, in the airlock, and you can assign that with a disk to the airlock, and then while the airlock is actually in operation, the light will be on, or this thing will be flashing. Then there's the grow light, which is needed, for example, on Mars, because the sun isn't strong enough there. But when you grow plants, you have to take care, because you don't just have the problem of too little light, but also the problem of too much light. So you can't just turn this thing on and forget about it. You can read up on all of that in the Stationpedia. And there's actually a plant analyzer cartridge for your tablet. When you point this thing at a plant, you will get detailed information as to what are the plant's needs, what is the plant's current problem, how well is it growing, what do I need to do to make this right. Okay, let's actually make the portable light. That's another thing that I have to show you, because that is really interesting. Iron, copper. Where is it? I need iron and copper. Some copper outside. No more iron in here. Then I will just use a machine. Copper, iron. Right, let's do the breathing in, breathing out thing. Now that we have this machine set up, we have an atmosphere in here of 83 kilopascals. Let's open the helmet. And 40 degrees, which is quite warm. So let's set the direction to inward, as in into its pipe network. Not into the room, that's not what that means. I mean, you can assemble this thing, you can install this thing so that it is pointing to the outside, right? For example, to suck in Mars atmosphere. Mars atmosphere contains lots of CO2, which is good for your plants, so you can fill up your greenhouse doing that, and then filtering out some pollutant, which is also in that atmosphere. Here we have nothing out there. Anyway, in that case, when you say outward and inward, it still, of course, means into the pipe network or outside through this grill here. So it wouldn't make sense if inward and outward would mean into and out of the room, because if you point it towards the atmosphere, what do you mean? Into the planet? So let's turn this thing on. Pressure is decreasing. Incredibly. Interestingly, it's already getting colder, which I don't quite understand why that's happening. So, turn this off. I wish I could know what's going on in those pipes, but I actually can by just extending this pipe network slightly so that it reaches into the base. And then I will point my tablet at it, and then I would see. So what's happening in here? Look at that, the temperature is nose diving, and we have a pressure of 40 megapascals, and we actually have some pollutant in there that is liquid, because pollutant has a phase change diagram that is rather fickle. So, and you can see here, you can see there's some stress. If this reaches 2%, the pipes will actually take damage. I think it was 2%. I'm not sure. Or was it 100%? Okay, never mind. Anyway, we have 15 degrees. Let's pump this back out and observe the room temperature from the other end of the room. We have a cooling system. Isn't that cool? And once the pipes are empty, I will stop it. So currently everything here is manually operated, but at least I have the means, you know, I can get that, I can get the work done. If it gets too hot, I turn on the thing, I cool down the room. Too bad the sun is coming back, because I wanted to show you something, and the stupid sun is in the way of that. Let's put down this thing here, where there's shadow. You can also fold it. Then it falls over. And you can plop down a battery, and you can turn it on and off. Let's turn it on. Hello. Nicely bright, right? But you haven't seen the half of it. Now I am Mr. Light. You might be asking the question, why would you put down any lights then? Because it's a huge emotional difference if everything is always lit up by you carrying this stupid light source, or when there are actually some lights that turn on and off and are in the distance and casting some shadows and so forth. This is a good solution to be able to see something, but it makes everything very samey, so buyer beware. Just wanted to show you that trick. And that was not intended. So we made a light. No, we didn't. I did not make that light yet. Let's cool some more. Where do we put this light? You know what, for demonstration purposes I will just install it in here and assign it to the airlock, so that we have some light experience every once in a while at the same time not wasting too much battery on it, because it's not going to be on all the time. Thank you, that's enough. Temperature is diving. I could also leave the air out there for longer, so it would cool down longer, of course. But if you leave it in there and forget about it, then eventually the pollution will not just become completely liquid, it will even freeze, and then your pipes are broken. Even the CO2 will freeze eventually. Oh, it's empty. Yo, the kit light. Let's look at it. We have here some simple wall light. Then a round light, small, one that is angled, so it indeed shines like a spotlight over there. This is a big round one. And remember, if we have this in here, we will only see the face of it, but not the backstage, the installation stuff. You will only see the light itself. Can't do this here because there are cables. Then we have the wall light battery. That's a very cool one. You can put this up and put a battery in it, and so it will be lighting without need for a cable. But you can put up a cable too, and that thing will then run on cable energy. But and the battery will charge, and if the electricity craps out, it will live off the battery. So then you have actual emergency lights. Nice, huh? The diode slide is a very special beast. It is lit when you turn it on, but it actually doesn't light up anything. So I was wondering, what is that good for? I never used it until I learned that this thing can be programmed to show a progress bar. So it is completely white when you turn it on, but if you set the value to like 0.5, 50%, then half of it will be red. And you can use the spray can to define the color that it will have. So this can then be used, for example, to display how full your station batteries are. Currently I can see that quite well, but later when you have a whole stack of them, some will be full, some will be empty, and it will be good to just take one look and know what's going on. So that's the diode slide. Then we have this one. That's my favorite one because it's so big. And it doesn't give off more light, I think, but the thing itself will also be white, and that gives the impression of more light. Similar thing but angled, similar thing but flat. And then the LED, which takes actually, I think, only 25 watts, but also lights very little. The big ones, like this one for example, they have 50 watts and they cause a lot more light. Where will I put this up? There's no more room, there's no more room. Or do I use a small light? No, let's put up a big one. The cabling will be tricky. But let's do it. Actually, let's try to cable this one up blindly. Let's see if that works. Nope. Yeah. Yep. There's our light. And now tell me that doesn't look neat. If I would be carrying around my own light all this time, I wouldn't have that experience. It would be much better even when the sun is gone. But let's give this thing a name. And now we have to carefully aim. I don't want to turn it on or off. I want to aim at the device itself. Where's the disk? And I can assign the light. As you see, we might want to put up another locker, because things are getting chaotic in here. Let's actually toggle the airlock. See? The light is on. I will leave this for later. Respective vent. We have cooling. I think we should actually start growing some stuff. Because I think we have achieved some stable atmosphere, some stable stations, some stable bays. We can filter out dirt from the air. So it's reasonable to risk that. On the moon, like I said, you don't need grow lights. So let's just put one potato in here. We still have plenty of time. And potato. Yeah, potato. I don't have tomatoes. Originally you started out also with tomato seeds, but they replaced those. Instead you have a grow light, which I don't need on the moon, but that's beside the point. The potato is thriving towards fruiting. Sometimes it will say is growing poorly, or is barely growing, or is not growing at all and will never fruit and stuff like that. Never fruit doesn't mean that it is gone forever. It just means the current circumstances are completely incompatible with the plant, and if you fix that, the plant might actually continue growing. I should make the plant analyzer so I can show you what that's like. We need gold. Okay, here we can see the growth efficiency is good, breathing efficiency is good, also temperature is fine, and here we can see the min and max ideal temperature. you can see that the min and max is not just 20 and 30, but 20 and 31, because that can vary. You can actually have later generations of your plants here that will be much more flexible. That will start at like 16 degrees and go up to 40 or whatever. Currently we have 28 degrees. Pressure efficiency. Here you see the ideal pressure ranges. Light efficiency is good. Light intensity is full. And here is some explanation. Here's something regarding lights.
Critical.
Let's say there would be no sun. Let's say I had used iron walls or solid frames around here, so there would be no sunlight in here, and I also don't use any grow light. Other lights that you put up or your flashlight do not count. They do not affect the plants at all. So then eventually I would see here that there's light deficiency. There would just be a red message that would say light deficient. And when there's such a deficiency, then the illumination stress will increase and increase and increase. Then when you turn on the light, the deficiency will not immediately go away. It will take like half a minute or less, because there's some chemistry simulation going on here, so the plant is not like a light switch. It takes a while for the plant to react to the new situation. And when then this deficiency situation has been resolved, you will see that the illumination stress is going down.
Waste tank critical.
But only when the illumination stress is at 0, it will no longer negatively affect your growth efficiency. So that's how you have to ride this car, basically. Hydration efficiency. How much water do we still have? We had 10 liters in the beginning, and oops, we still have 10 liters because plants really use very, 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 very little water. Here we see the gas mixture desired. Needs that. And it would react allergic to volatiles, I think. And definitely to pollutants. We can see here we have almost 1 kilopascal of pollutants, and the limit is 1 pascal. You know what? Let's turn on the welding torch and check that out. Oh, kilopascals. Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna go there. Okay, never mind. Now, why is it decreasing? Because it was concentrated in this place of the room, and now it's spreading out. So, there's this plant, and since we have this sun cycle, it will have its darkness as it needs. Right, I didn't explain that yet. There's not just light deficiency, but also darkness deficiency. And how much light and how much darkness a plant needs is, we can read up on that in the Stationpedia, and that sounds very, like a hassle to deal with that, right? But it's not. On the Moon you just put the plant down and the sun will do the rest. On Mars you will have to activate the grow light whenever there's sun outside. I mean, when you activate that, that's your choice, but I'm just saying, if you stick with the sun's rhythm, you'll be fine. And then you can use, for example, the sunlight sensor to say, whenever the sun degree is below 90, then the light will be on, because that's how the vertical degree of the sunlight works with that sensor. 0 degrees means noon, 90 degrees means it's dusk or dawn, and 180 degrees means it's on the other side of the celestial body on which you're running around. Let's swap that back. And then deal with this alert. Battery is weak, that's actually a big one. But good thing now we have another big one in reserve without having to open this thing. Now that's convenient. Okay, we have plants, we have cooling, we eventually we have something to eat, so we have something to drink. We would also need something to breathe. So let's empty the slot. Or actually, yeah, no, let's just do that. And look at this pipe, which shows that we have about 1 megapascal of nitrogen in there. Pretty useless stuff for us right now, so let's remove that from the station. and we can create another air canister, a gas canister, or we can put ours in there. I don't know. It's an arbitrary choice. And put in some oxide. Once again, it will go and heat that up. Interesting. I don't know what's actually gonna happen. Because it was already heated up and will now reach its 15-degree threshold. A threshold that can be redefined using... what's the word? Can be redefined using logic circuits. So if it's already at that temperature, what is it about to excrete? Oh, there's some O2. Some nitrogen 2 from before, from the water ice. The ratio will now shift further and further towards O2. But we almost have no more energy. Now that's the thing, you know, I want to have some more solar panels out there. That's what I want to do. And we need some more steel, some more resources. So I guess I'm gonna do that off video and then we return. But first, let's stick my oxygen bottle in this.
Air tank critical.
Now we have here 3 megapascals of the mixture of what was in here and of what was in there. So that was quite a wasteful move. And also, if I now take this thing and dunk it into my canister here, which is purely oxygen, then that will be polluted. There will be some nitrogen in there. I mean, it's not a problem, but it's something that you henceforth have to consider. And considering that there's like 2,000 moles of oxygen in there, and here's only 84 moles, that's quite a lot to poison, you know? So what can we do about that? We can set up a filtration device. Maybe we want to do that next. Atmospherics. Iron, gold, copper. Damn it. Alanis Morissette would say, that's ironic. Need some more iron. I have iron. Nice. The kit Atmospherics is also one of the most used devices in the game. Not just because the filtration is very, very, very important, but also because the kit has more important things. More on that in a few seconds. And I think I should already build some more gas utilities. Yep. So, let's look at this. Here we have the build ghost of the first thing that the kit suggests, and that is the AC, the air conditioner. That is something I could have used to define the room's temperature. It has, on the right side, it has this input, so I could just put a upwards bent pipe there and then a pipe cowl, or just a passive vent. I don't know if I can connect that directly, I'm not sure. And then that would be the input of the room air. On the other side I would have the same thing again to output it back into the room. And then on the side there, this left arrow, that's the waste gas. Nothing will be pumped out there, but that's where basically the heat goes, or the cold goes. Let's say I have some pipes on the left side that have some pressure, and those pipes contain oxygen, and that's at 20 degrees. Now I have my base and it's at 40 degrees, and I want to cool down the base to 20. What will happen is that the gas inside the waste gas pipe on the left side will not change, but it will get hotter. That also means that eventually the AC will no longer be able to cool down the room because this waste gas pipe will just be too hot. Also, another thing to consider is the waste gas pipe should be insulated, else it will, in this example I'm describing, just radiate its heat back into the room, and so that will not be so very productive. I could use this thing and connect my outside coolant pipes instead of using this elaborate setup that I'm using with my active vents, but I don't know, I like it more this way. It's more engineering. Also, I don't know how much electricity these things consume. Anyway, let's continue. That was the air conditioner. Then we have the nitrolyzer, which creates nitrous oxide, you know, N2O. Seems like a combination of nitrogen and oxygen, right? Yeah, it is. And this device is what combines the two into one. So then we have the H2 combustor, which can be used to create water. You can actually create water in this game, which is useful on Vulcan, where there is no water ice to be found. And then you can just use the atmosphere's volatiles, and you can use some CO2 that's also in the atmosphere, and pipe the CO2 into your large greenhouse, which will in turn produce oxygen for you, and then you combine the volatiles and the oxygen in the right mixture, you know, 2 to 1, into this device, and power it, and it needs a lot of power. Actually, no, this one doesn't need that much power, I think. And then it will produce water for you. A dirty mixture, there will be some... The water will be super hot, to like 2000 degrees, so you have to cool that down and so forth, but you can produce water. Next is the electrolyzer, which does the opposite. You can pipe in water, you can see that here, and on the other side you will get exactly what your furnace or the welding torch needs. Remember when I tossed in the ices into the furnace, that's just one way to create the right gas mixture. I could also just connect the fuel gas bottle of my welder to the furnace, and that would work too. That's because that's just the logic of what's happening there. So I could use water to create welder fuel. So, and then we have the filtration and the air conditioner. So we went full circle. The filtration. I would like to be able to purify my oxygen bottle back to pure oxygen. Let's do that. That's a nice little engineering challenge. And we have some space here. So let's put down the... let's put down the thing here. Filtration device. And you know, when you use this thing and the scroll wheel, and you have picked out the right thing, the same goes for walls that you want to put down. Remember these walls down here. Then you might think that you will stay in that place, but sometimes when you pick it up again and want to build, then you will be back at AC. And I have built about 100. Okay, that's too much. Let's say 20 air conditioners accidentally, and only realized too late that it was not filtration, because my choice had been reverted by the game. The same for these, but that was easily 100 when I wanted to put down a flat wall, and it had reverted me back to something else. So always take care that you look what your kit is currently showing in the tooltip. So that is filtration. Before well, let's completely build that. Let's build that. What do we need? I think we need pipes. Oh, I need more pipes. That's the normal pipes, and that is the insulated pipes. So on the input side, I also want to have this gas bottle kind of thing. Okay, let's just use the auto rotate. Yeah, that's enough, thank you. Next build stage, what is required now? I think it was cables. And a screwdriver. You can tell I built some of these in the past. Now it's only showing me the hand drill for deconstruction, aka my construction has completed. But it's not yet ready for use, it needs electricity. There is the connection for data, and there, down there is the connection for power. Where is the best way to connect that? Across the room, maybe? No, here, that's good, okay.
Hydration critical.
Yes, you can pipe them through the pipes, but you cannot lay them along the pipes. That doesn't fly. What you can also do is you can do this. That will also work. I wonder, does it work in that place? Yep, it does. Oh, by the way, a little building tip. You have seen that putting down these nice decoration thingies was a two-step process, and so the one step is still here, and maybe you actually want to deconstruct the cable, which you can do sometimes. In this place I can, here I can't for whatever reason. I guess the game is like simulating that there's this diagonal thing in this place too, even though it's not obstructing the cable. No. Ow! I think I just found a bug. Because here it is not here it's obstructed, but I can deconstruct and so forth. So if I can't get to such a cable, someone showed me a trick. You can just extend the cable's nature basically by doing this, and then you can reach the cable. Yeah, okay, let's put that back together. And drink something while we're here. Yeah, I have been lugging around this stuff all this time, but why? I mean, now that we have a stable base, I think it's most productive to use these slots instead for inventory stuff. So in case we build something else in some other place where we need the disk, let's put that in here. I do need more space. And in case I will ever have some lung damage situation, instead of dying, I'd rather swallow something. Okay, where was I? Cabling this up, yeah. Huh. Peculiar. Copper! No! You might have noticed that it took a little longer now to get out of the airlock. That is because there is now higher pressure in here, so it takes longer to pump all of that out. You could have seen that here. This goes up to 100, so if it's like 200 or 150, it will just get stuck up here and then eventually will decrease. Now vice versa, if I just open the turn the airlock around, there will be some... Hello? Explosive. See, I just tried to toss that thing, it just flew back into my face. There's much more pressure exchange now. That did work. More cables, please. Okay, the filtration is now powered. It's complaining because there are no, it's complaining because the pipes are not yet sufficiently connected. So now let me explain the filtration unit. I will first plop in some filters, and that's actually the thing, you know? What is it that we want to achieve? The goal is to have pure oxygen. So what I would do is I would put oxygen filters here and here, or only one maybe. And what happens then, whatever comes in here is filtered so that only this oxygen remains and comes out here. But maybe what I have instead is a mixture that I'm actually fine with, but there's some pollution in there. So what I would do then is I would put the bottle here, and here I would have a pollution filter, and then I would put my use gas, you know, the payload, I would get out of here, because the pollution filter will make sure that only pollution goes here, nothing else. And so anything that is not pollution will come out here, which is the gas mixture that I had here, minus the pollution. That is how these things work. In addition, if you put a pollution filter here and here, then you will just have more filter reserves. But if you use, for example, pollution and volatiles as filters here, then if there's pollution and volatiles in here, both of that will end up in here, and anything that's not that will end up in here. Now, for contrast, here our air scrubber, if I put in two pollutant filter, it will actually flash an error, because its purpose is not to have two filters here that will eventually run dry one after the other, even though honestly I would have preferred that, but instead to have two different filters if you're using two filters. So now let's use an oxygen filter. Filter. Here we go. Yeah, why was it flashing an error? Because the connections are not made yet. Instead of putting up more of these things, I will just place a pipe cowl somewhere. More iron. Damn it. Oh, do I not have iron? I don't have iron. Oh! Okay. See you in a few minutes. Hey, back in business, and I got us a lot of iron and coal. I will reserve some of that iron for steel production, which we want to do again at some point. We want to clean some stuff up here because it's getting disorderly, really. We need iron, of course. And what was I trying to produce again? I don't remember. A pipe cowl? Was it that? That it was. Okay, we have our filtration machine. It has power. It is built fully. It has power. It has a filter. We can put something in here. We can get something out here. And there's another thing to be known about this. It is pressure differential. If we have a high pressure coming in here and a low pressure on this side, then the device will work very effectively. But if, for example, it's the opposite, the device will work very slowly. I'm not sure if it might actually even stop working at some point, because it's a relatively new development. But okay, I have my oxygen bottle, which is polluted, and I want to get yeah, instead of going this route where I first fill the bottle and then stuff it in here and so forth, I could also just pipe this up directly, but that's the way it is now. So, by the way, this air scrubber over here, which cleans the air, you can do that with this thing, of course. You put a pipe cowl in here, it will get some air in, And on this side you pump out the cleaned air. And here we make this longer, like a chimney, so we pump out the pollution out of the station. Or we fill up our bottles with it and use it as jetpack fuel, so that we have fun when we're jetpacking inside. So we have these two lockers here. It's getting crowded. So prepare some steel production. I could also just take one stack of iron and reduce it from 50 to 48, and then on the other hand use a stack of coal of 16 only. 3 times 16 is 48, and that would also be the proper mixture, but it has to be the proper mixture, else what you get out of there would be some kind of mixture that doesn't work. You won't get steel ingots out there, but some brown thing that you can toss in again right away, by the way, and then you can adjust your mixture by adding some other stuff to balance it out, and then you will get your correct steel or iron. That works. Another thing is you can take this brown stuff that came out of there and toss it in a centrifuge so that it will separate things again for you. That also works. Okay, we want to filter. From which to which? From which to what? I need an output bottle. Let's make a bottle. And these things are called canisters. CAN. And there's the gas canister. This one we already know from our hydroponics that came with the lander. Because, like I said, this pipe utility stuff also exists for the liquid pipes. What just happened? Huh. I don't know. So, put the bottle here. Nothing here yet. This, of course, has the room atmosphere because it's just open. And nothing in this pipe network. Let's put my bottle inside. Oh. You see here the nitrogen filter is already kind of, well, I wouldn't say damaged, but used up.
Airtag critical.
Because the mixture contains quite a lot of nitrogen, so there will be a lot of nitrogen use of this filter, basically. Now again, we have this pressure in here and this pressure in the pipe. It has equalized, of course, like it would in reality. Now we turn this on. This is slowly being removed. And here we get some gas, and this gas is only O2. So we're purifying this, and the rest is just being pumped in the atmosphere, which means that this percentage should go up, but I think we're already done. Yeah, it's only a few kilopascals left. And that's filtration, and you need that all the time, in many possible ways. There's not much oxygen in there. Can we get some more oxygen? Yeah, that's the thing. I always have to connect a pipe here before I have some device like pumps and such, so there will always be some waste gas here that I cannot get rid of, except if I add, for example, a valve and just let it escape outside or evacuate the pipe otherwise. I'm saying I have some gas in here and some gas in there, and I just basically got another megapascal that I can also pipe in here. And I can do this again and again, and every time it will be less and less. This is not an efficient setup. I'm just saying that's how it functions. Oh, look at our plant. The potato is thriving towards fruiting. Now, something about plants. The plants will slowly grow larger like this, and eventually they will fruit, meaning that you can click here and then you get a potato. Usually you get 2 potatoes if your growing conditions were fine. But if you don't do that, instead wait a little longer, which the tooltip will also tell you, then you will also get seeds. It will tell you the potato is thriving towards seeding, And eventually then you have seeds, and then it's fully grown and you can just forget about the plant. It will stand in the room, it will breathe for you, but it will not do anything more. And then you can click on the thing and you get seeds, which you can then plop down here, like I did in the beginning. Then you can harvest the 2 potatoes that would be here, and then the plant is gone. Then you can plant the plant anew with seeds or one of the potatoes. So you would have gotten basically, well, I put down 1 seed, and what I get out is a surplus of 2. I mean, overall I get 3, but I need to replant. So that's how that works. I'm currently unsure as to how to continue, so I want to stop the video at this point, and maybe we see each other again later. Bye!